All right, so yeah, Tyson, why don't you start? What are your thoughts on this draft since you seem
Well, the
yeah,
first thing is we want to thank everybody that joined us the last 3 days. We've done a ton of videos. A lot of people joined us. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, we want to thank you. If you're not subscribing, please subscribe. We are not experts by no means. We're just fans talking football. So like Sasha did a lot more than us, and Max from France. So we appreciate that. The draft was interesting, man. Like, we had a lot of holes. I think offensive line was a priority. He addressed that. Cornerback was a kind of a concern we had. I mean, you got Bryce Hall late, which was crazy. But for me, it was build around Sam. And when you build around Sam, it's okay. That means offensive line, running back, receiver. Receiver kind of left me a little bit to be desired, where it's like, okay, Denzel Mims was the guy he got later on. He traded back for him. Makes sense. But I was hoping in the fourth round, you have 3 picks and get a guy there. The backup quarterback there. I know everybody's trying to sell me on it. That to me should have been a wide receiver. It was plenty of them available.
Yep.
The running back, listen, it's a dime a dozen. You hope he pans out. But to me, it's like you understand he had a rhyme or reason. He managed the board well. He did his thing. To me, I'm just wish we had more wide receiver right now. So I'm looking after the draft, undrafted free agents who you can go after, or you go try to sign somebody. I go look at Marcus Golden for a pass rusher. I mean, I'm not in the group that loves every pick. Like right now, everybody loves everything. What's that?
What's your grade?
I don't really, grades. I don't really give them, grades don't mean really anything to me, but it's just, I like the way he traded back and he did things. He's about high character players. All these guys are captains. All these guys are leaders. They're all high motors. You know what his type of player is now, which we didn't know going in, and he proved it. They're all, this is the, fast, physical, high character guys, leadership and everything else. But I wish we did more at wide receiver. The quarterback pick kind of makes me shake my head a little bit. And I guess that's kind of it. I got, it's the trade for Quincy Wilson. Now we have three corners.
3 Colts.
3 Colts.
Yeah. Indianapolis Jets.
Jazier, Hairston, and it's like, okay. But listen, he's got a lot of work to do still. Undrafted free agents, and then you can sign some guys afterwards. But I guess my only criticism is just wide receiver after that. So it's I really don't give grades. And they don't what are we grading? We're grading the unknown at this point. So
I get it.
What do you think, Sasha? What's your overall breakdown of this draft?
Same thing. I would like to have a wide receiver more, but overall, I think Joe Douglas did a pretty solid job. So great value with most of the picks. I think I had the most a bit higher, except for the quarterback and the running back we drafted. But we'll see if we have a solid backup quarterback whenever Sam maybe goes down or misses some time. So hopefully you have value there, and maybe you can trade this guy if he proves to be a quarterback. You can trade him for value in 2 or 3 years. Running back is good to have depth at, so I like that. I also like the pickup of Wilson, because you have a proven corner for a 6th rounder. That's last time we traded a 6th rounder to them was Henry Anderson, and that panned out pretty well.
This is a corner there.
Yeah, and the thing is too is you look at, we all talked about these players the last couple of days. You got Mims, we got him at a later spot. Bryce Hall at a later spot, so you got some value there. The corners, from what you read about Wilson, it's like he's a press guy, and he went to zone last year, so he's more of a Greg Williams type of corner. So that may pan out. So
yeah,
we'll see. It's interesting, man. It's interesting. He's gonna make a lot more moves before the season starts, obviously. So
and of course you got to say we have a punter. So
yes, no more Lachlan Edwards. He's gone.
Have you seen the video Pat McAfee put on?
Yeah, he was going nuts. I saw that.
And what I really like is Mekhi Becton's Twitter game. So
that's probably the biggest news.
So a little too much for me.
All right, Chris. What do you think, man? What's your assessment of this draft class?
Well, I made notes.
Uh-oh.
You read them, though.
I can. No, it's as I said earlier, this is the first time I've done draft stuff, so I'm all new to it. So, but if I had to grade him, I can't decide between a C or a B. I do agree with you, Ty. I think we needed more wide receivers. I don't know, if to me, it feels like we've got 2 wide receivers and 10.
Yeah.
Running back I like. Well,
I can't talk. And Gina, my blood pressure's through the roof. And I'm like,
what's that?
Norm's got some background going on.
Well,
I
I got a
don't
lot of background noise going on.
a lot
Keep
of our
going,
blood
Chris.
pressures were through the roof this week.
Sorry, yeah, no. I like most of them. I think the quarterback one is iffy still for me
Yeah.
after it's been 5 hours. Other than that, yeah, I think it's quite good. Let's just see what happens now.
Yeah, that's all you really can do. Norm, what do you think, man? What's your assessment as you're walking through the house?
Well, I'm actually pretty impressed. I mean, the thing that I like the most is that we were able to add a lot of draft picks. I would have liked an extra wide receiver. You have a problem with with quantity, and I think that he addressed that pretty well. I mean, I love Denzel Mims. I thought he was going to go much earlier.
Yep.
I would have liked an extra wide receiver, but I think that they did a great job accumulating picks and getting a lot of value. They weren't going to fill every need that they had in one draft, but I think they made a pretty good amount of progress on it. I think that there's a decent amount of young depth in the wide receiver, so I wasn't too worried about not getting another one. I think there's people with potential like Vincent Smith, and I think Berrios maybe can turn into something. I think it was vital that we get another guy that could have been technically a 1A or 1B. So I'm impressed with how he was able to trade back and still get a lot of value. And
I think the one thing they always say, like we always talked about, like get those Mangini guys. When Mangini was here, they always had those high character guys, football guys, and that seems like we're getting back to that mode now where McCagnon didn't really do that. Well, no, sorry, Kevin, but there's more of a
No offense taken.
but it's like he's getting physical, fast guys, more, football, like they're into football, they're hard workers, they're leaders, and that's kind of like a culture changer better than just, so it's interesting, man. So
what did they get, like 5 captains?
In fairness, McCagnon did target those guys. They just couldn't play. They were injured and they sucked.
that's true too. We're in a happy mode right now. Everything is great right now. In 6 months from now, we can hate people, but right now we got to be happy. That's the rule, I guess, in draft Twitter.
Yeah.
So we'll go to Rick. We got to unmute Rick, Kev.
Yep. Rick, you hear us?
I can. Hi, guys.
What's up,
How's it
man?
going,
What do you
man?
think about what do you think about this draft?
I give it a B.
Okay.
I don't think we needed another backup quarterback. Maybe sign a free agent. And I agree with you guys about getting another wide receiver. But, you got to be happy with the first 2 picks. And then that cornerback when was it 6th round?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bryce Hall.
Yeah, Bryce Hall
Yeah.
he was a guy that
Good
we all
draft.
thought was going to go yesterday and then earlier today,
Yeah.
and you get him there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So overall, you like what you see from Joe Douglas in this draft, then his first draft.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go. Now we go to Hugh. He's outspoken. He's got his temple stuff on now. Look at him. He's all templed up. What's up, Hugh?
What's up, guys? What's up? Good evening.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
I don't see no wine in the corner. No wine?
Staying clear for wine for a little bit. maybe tomorrow. It's just like most of you guys, I got mixed feelings. Definitely some positives, right? We addressed offensive line early, and then we picked up another guy who looks pretty promising, and apparently him and Mekhi Becton are like really close friends. So it's good to have both of them potentially protecting Sam. I like the depth that we have. I like the job done on the offensive line. We'll see what happens. There's still some question marks with people like Fant, but we'll see. I like P. Ryan. Maybe I think it was a little early where we got him, but
Yeah.
I think he's good. Good backup. So we got someone behind Al Bell now. I don't really know much about this quarterback we picked up. I think it was a little early. Who knows? We'll see. With a lot of these picks, time will tell.
Yeah.
I do like. I'm a huge fan of. I know he was a little injured last year. That's probably why he dipped, but I think that's going to be a draft steal. So adding him to already the mix of corners that we have, and the move with the Colts today. Again, we're getting some depth. We get some competition in camp when it finally rolls around.
We probably don't need Logan Ryan anymore. That was the big rumor going into this, where Logan Ryan was a guy. Now with all these corners, would you take the money we have now and then go after Marcus Golden, who could help some pass rush? He played well with the Giants last year. get some pass rush help, or maybe look for a wide receiver somewhere. The Eagles got to cut somebody. They have like 30 receivers now.
Yeah. What the frustrating part, of course, is I don't think we do enough at wide receiver. Like Devin Duvernay from Texas and even James Prochet, I think both of those guys got picked up by Baltimore.
Yep.
And we know Baltimore knows how
Harbaugh love those.
they know how to identify talent. Yeah, I mean, I saw someone on ESPN. He was jumping up and down, because they got him. And I think if we didn't play with, move back too much, doing all these trades and things, maybe we could have snagged one of them at least. But we'll see. I think we're basically done now. So I'm hoping, those guys out there are making their phone calls and they're, I'm sure they've been working on this already, but trying to get those undrafted free agents in the bag quickly as soon as this draft ends, and it never stops. So
and that's what Joe Douglas, when he was in Baltimore, they said that was his biggest thing. Like, he loves undrafted free agents. That was his biggest mark, where he was very aggressive and did a lot of scouting. So Mr. Panda, he's looking red. Joe looks like he's ready to go. What is your assessment of this draft class, Joe?
We didn't get Blankenship.
Yeah, we didn't get Blankenship, which was definitely a bummer. Same as pretty much everybody else for the most part. I'm disappointed in the wide receiver, or lack thereof, wide receivers. I really like Mims, but for him to be the only guy is not a smart move, in my opinion, especially in such a deep class that I've had to hear about for the last 4 months every day, that told me that it's okay that we only signed Brashad Perriman. We're going to draft 3 or 4 receivers in the deepest class ever. Well, we didn't. So, everyone might be excited right now, and that's how everyone is every draft. I don't want to piss on anyone's parade, but I'm not that happy. I'm content. I like some of the picks. Becton, he wasn't my favorite tackle, but he could turn out to be really good. He's boomer or bust, though. So is Mims. He's this kind of the same type of player. I like P. Ryan. He's actually probably my favorite guy, P. Ryan and Hall. I like both of them a lot. So I really like those picks from that standpoint, but really don't understand why we needed to waste a 4th-round pick on a backup quarterback. And really unhappy that we had to only select one receiver, who very much like the left tackle is boomer bust. So hard to give a grade at this point, because we won't really be able to grade it for 3 years if we're going to do it any justice. So
now,
we'll see what happens, and hopefully.
But based on this draft, what do you think happens with Brian Winters now? Based on we draft linemen, all this, and we signed a bunch of guys. Is Brian Winters still gonna be in the hot seat, or do you think he's still gonna be the starter?
I would assume he would be released at this point if they can. If not, then I guess he would be the starter with competition. I would assume Van Rotten would be the guy who would push him the most. But I'm not really sure why he's still on the team. I mean, I like Winters. He's tough. He's gritty. He battles it out. But even when he's healthy, he's really not that great. And he has a high cap number, and all we hear about is how the Jets are cash strapped. So I would expect some guys to be cut probably in the next few weeks.
Yeah, for me now, it's like knowing what we know. It's like Winters and Williamson can go, and get me Marcus Golden. Give me a pass rusher. Like, I
would love Marcus Golden.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. I mean, that's kind of where we're at now. It's like we know what we have. The undrafted free agents, you're not sure what to expect. Now it's like you're like your 3rd tier free agency. Like, what can we add after this now? It's like wide receivers.
We have to hope a couple wide receivers break.
Taylor Gabriel or something like that. I don't know. I mean, that's
you don't want to rely on Mims to start week 1 at this point. And like I've said, and I will continue to say, Perriman has a lot of promise and upside, yes, but he has not proven anything in 5 years. So to rely on him as a starter is foolish.
Oh, you need Quincy to be healthy.
We'll see what happens. Quincy's done. I mean, everybody wants Quincy back, but it's just a fairy tale. The guy's done.
Yeah, I think he is too. Kevin, what's your assessment, man?
I mean, I pretty much agree with most of you guys. I love the Mims pick. That was probably my favorite, along with Bryce Hall. I thought they got great value with both of those picks. I don't think anybody expected those guys on the board where they were. But the fact that we went backup quarterback when we could have just signed a veteran, guys like Flacco are out there, I thought that would have made so much more sense, especially with the way the board was shaken out. Some interior offensive linemen dropped. A bunch of wide receivers were there, between rounds 4 and round 6. So I thought he missed the boat there as far as just not being a little bit more, or at least just not having more conviction as far as moving up, having a player in mind to target and go get. But I thought he did have a plan overall. He addressed plenty of needs. He spread it out. He got a corner, I thought, that could potentially start day 1 with Hall if he's healthy. And I can't justify the punter and the backup quarterback. Everything else other than that, I can get behind.
Hey man, punters are people too.
Bring back Lachlan Edwards, sign a veteran. Like, don't waste a draft pick on one. They could have moved up and gotten Peoples-Jones or somebody like that. Like, there's so much more value in doing that, I think, than just taking a punter there. But again, he's the best in the class, so we're gonna love the pick, and he's a team captain, so.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I'm like, something like that, like the quarterback and the punter, it's like that could be a running back and a receiver, and just bring in guys for competition, young guys, explosive guys, and see what happens.
And even the P. Ryan pick, I like that pick, but I thought they reached a little bit. I thought a guy like McFarland, who had a little bit more home run potential, a change of pace to Bell, I thought that could have been a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, they went offense, and I think that was the priority. They got 5 guys on offense out of the 8 or 9 picks they had, so I can't complain.
All right, so here's my last question is, basically we went through free agency, we went through the draft. We pretty much know like what 90% of the roster's done. What's your expectation of this team now? Like, what do we expect from this team now? Like, is this an 8-18 now? Like, are we significantly improved that we were last year?
I think so, but the question that I'll keep bringing it back to is, what is Adam Gase, and what can he get out of Sam Darnold? What is Sam Darnold? Until we know that, I mean, I think the potential for Sam Darnold is through the roof. If Adam Gase can unlock it, and if he's just even a halfway decent coach, I think this roster should be good enough to compete.
Well, his built-in excuse last year was the offensive line sucked. That was the thing. The line sucked. We can't do anything. Well,
and we spent $60 million, and we got Mekhi Becton in the first round and Cameron Clark in the 4th.
That's it. Yeah, now
well, again, who's to blame? You let Robbie Anderson go, and you took a shot on Perriman. So if that doesn't work out, that's egg on your face. That's
So Sasha, what do you think, man? What's your expectation of this team now? Are they much improved from last year?
I think so, yes, because basically the offensive line is hopefully way better. And we'll see how our new receivers work. I mean, you don't have like the connection between Robbie and Sam. Yeah, you don't have that day one with Perryman and Mims. You never know how long a rookie wide receiver takes to get in the NFL, so you don't know that. But I think if the offensive line is giving him more time, he will find his receivers, because he's way too talented to miss them. So and he got Bell, he got Perriman, Crowder, Herndon. So if they're all back, I think this offense should be way better. So, and the defense, Greg Williams will I think he will do pretty much the same like last year, maybe even better with better cornerbacks, because the 2 we had last year outside were probably like the worst cornerback tandem in the entire league.
And you get CJ Mosley back.
You get CJ Mosley back. You got the safety we got should be a player, and of course the cornerbacks should be way better. Pass rush, I don't know if we can do better.
I'd still sign Marcus Golden, but yeah, I mean they should. I mean, I agree.
Should sign one, but I think overall this is a way better team than last year.
All right, Hugh, what do you think, man? Hugh looks so serious, man. It's Saturday night. Come on, man, relax, smile a bit.
I'm calm, but you posed a good question, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think Gase is still going to get in his own way. This game is about adjustments and what you do throughout a game, throughout a season. And we could come up with a good 15 scripted plays, and then after that it's just and his ability to
every
adjust.
Game. Every game was like that.
Is somewhat better. I still got a question mark at the position, but offensive line is better. So it's good to see that Sam will probably be upgraded a little bit more.
Norm's got all kinds of issues over there.
Dogs, I got kids, I got
But Hugh, the one thing, and see, Sasha started to touch on this. The one thing we have to wonder about is you have the no chemistry with Sam, with Mims and Perryman, but also you're revamping your entire offensive line. How long to get them to gel together? You're revamping everybody. Yeah. Alex Lewis comes back, but everybody around him is going to be different. So how long for them to gel and get on sync and communication?
That's why I think Winters is probably coming back. Bring at least
especially
2 guys
the
back,
training camp could be, no OTAs, no mini camp. I mean, this could be a challenge for them too. Going in it's.
But I'm thinking 8-8 at best. Looking at the schedule we have.
Yeah, West Coast trips.
Yeah.
Mm. That's it. So what do you think, Rick? Are we much better than last year?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 wins better. Plus, I think the Patriots are much weaker, and Dolphins and Bills, I don't know. They've improved, obviously, but there's no juggernaut in the AFC East anymore. So I think the key is, and you guys mentioned it, is no OTAs, maybe a very short training camp. These guys all have to gel. Sam has to throw to guys who aren't wearing masks. I mean, not the football masks.
Yeah.
And it's basically a whole new team, which is great because the old team sucked for years.
Yep.
So, it's and I don't like Gase either, but I really like what Greg Williams is going to be able to do with the guys on defense.
Yep.
And so, yeah, 8-8, maybe 9-7.
Yeah.
And then the year after that, it should be really good.
Yeah, it's true. The year after that, they have $100 million in cap space. Norm,
Right.
what do you think, man?
I think this is really the first year, what I'm going to consider the first year of the real rebuild. I don't
Agree.
consider anything that McCagnon did as it's
Completely
just a
agree.
waste of time that we've had. This is the first year we've really had a shot now with Joe D being able to, put his mark on things. It's going to be a much harder schedule. We have much more traveling that we need to do. As you said, it's going to be much harder for us to gel. I think 8-8 is probably a good season under the circumstances. I still don't like the head coach, and I certainly don't like our offensive coordinator. I'm not sure why Loggins.
They're one and the same.
Yeah, I know. Well, I understand. I think Loggins is a waste. I think that really Gase has no excuses going into this year. If we don't show market improvement on the offense, then he really has to go. I thought he should have gone already, which I guess wasn't going to happen. But I think that there's enough of a talent boost that we're going to be better talent-wise, not sure about record-wise, and I really think our head coach is what's going to hold us back. I hope I'm wrong. Never been a big Gase fan, but I think we're going to go like everybody saw. When he did his scripted plays, they were great, and then they did absolutely nothing after that. So keep our fingers crossed. I think the offensive line is going to be significantly better. I really like the two guys that they got on the offensive line. I think they both could potentially be starters for us. So keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best. But I'm excited about where Douglas has taken us, and he'll have hopefully the ability to get rid of Gase if Gase doesn't work out.
Yeah, that's what we hope for. Panda, what do you think, man? What's your assessment of this team? Are they much improved from last year?
I wouldn't say much improved, but I think they are improved overall. I think it's going to be one of those instances where the record's not going to reflect that due to, as others have said, the schedule. I mean, our farthest trip west last year was Cincinnati.
Yep.
And now this year we're going to be,
as of now,
going to LA twice. Yeah, going to LA twice, Seattle and Kansas City. That's a lot of travel there, and then we have a lot of tough opponents coming in too. Cleveland's better or should be better as well coming back. San Francisco's coming in, so
yeah,
a lot of tough opponents. I think the record won't reflect that the team is better, but I'll say they're probably, in my mind as of now, I would say 5-11, 6-10.
Oof. Chris, what do you think, man?
Better, yes. How much? I don't know. I think you've all brought up all the points that I was going to make, actually. With this virus about, and even a potential shorter season as well could happen still. And he said, the traveling. I do trust Joe Douglas. I think he's done a brilliant job so far. The only thing I don't like is letting Robbie go. I'd really rate Robbie, even if he was only a number 2. But I've gone 6-10 as well.
Okay. Kevin, what are your thoughts, man?
Again, I kind of agree with what Norm said. I think this all depends on what Adam Gase is going to do. I mean, if he somehow has, an awakening this offseason and, with an offensive line, he can actually coach this team up and get the most out of Sam. I think there are enough weapons, plus the fact that you're getting Mosley back, you're getting Herndon back, you address the offensive line with $60 million. I don't see any reason why this team shouldn't at least be able to compete and be 8-8. And if they don't do that, then Gase should be fired.
Yeah, fair enough. Anything else you got, Kev?
That's it for me, man.
Well, we want to thank all you guys for joining us, man. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
I was just going to say, I'm sad Max isn't here because I wanted to hear his thoughts on potential undrafted free agents. I'm sure he's got his big board.
Oh, I'm sure he does, man.
Prospects.
He's got his big board for like next year already, probably.
Yeah.
We want to thank you guys for all joining us, man. We appreciate it. We'll do a lot more of these, so we'll keep it out. Hugh, I guess, Hugh, we found you. You're on Instagram. How did we get a hold of you?
Actually, I started following you guys on Facebook first. I've been following the show for years, man, for the past few years. And then I just jumped on and found you guys on Instagram. So, but not on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do all these. We'll do a lot more of these now because I never knew
Yeah.
Kevin started all this. I had no idea about Zoom or none of this nonsense. I'm pretty illiterate.
I didn't start using Zoom until the coronavirus started.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's cool
me
though.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome to be able to do this though. It's
Yeah,
cool.
so we'll do a lot more of these. We'll post a lot of stuff on YouTube and Instagram, everything else. We appreciate it. And we broadcast live every Tuesday night, 8:00. So that's it. So thanks, guys. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
appreciate it, guys.
Hey, stay
Have a
safe.
good night.
Yeah, stay
You
safe.
too. Stay safe.
Take care.